Good morning. Spring is a busy time of year on ranches. Even after years of being in ranching, the task of preparing the pastures for livestock can sneak up and overwhelm. It seems like getting water and grass in front of a cow should be a pretty simple process. But systems providing the basics of water, feed, and fencing also have a way of providing unforeseen challenges. I have titled this poem, Song of the Cistern. It was not done for sport or fun, this daring tale of father and son that strikes fear in the heart of brave men and women the day Pa and I went cistern swimming. We had set a tank beneath the windmill bank. A long, hard day and the clay was sank. Great minds think alike and weak ones too. Both cowboys knew what they needed to do. I had shut off the valve, I hadn't told Dad. He hadn't asked, and things turned bad. To slow the flow was on his list. Dad also gave the handle a twist. 2 heads are usually better than 1, but 2 sets of hands sure spoil the fun. To the breaking point our wits were drawn when we went to turn the water on. The valve of which I speak is at the cistern bottom, under 20 feet of pipe. And troubles, well, we've got 'em. Prongs once through the handle, now we're twisted free. I was accusing Dad, and he was reprimanding me. The reason that our troubles were so hard to annul, that cistern was totally, completely, absolutely full. Prongs were quickly straightened out, and we did our best to cope as we passed a merry hour with a game of poke and hope. Lady Luck was not smiling, we were both too peeved to pray. The sun would soon be setting, there was no time to delay. Evening chores were needed tended, and water was required, when Dad hatched out a plan that he thought might be inspired. That cistern is only 20 feet deep or so. How tough could it be for one of us to go directly to the bottom and turn the valve back on? The edict had been issued from the upper echelon. Since I was young and single, except for my new bride, being a pioneer of cistern surfing would bring my family pride. It would be like climbing Everest, except I'd go the other way. Aided with a rope and cinder block, the plan went into play. The rope was tied to me in case my life was spent. The cinder block I held to aid in my descent. Dad would count the seconds off his watch, they would tick. I had a sinking feeling, for you see, I'm claustrophobic. If you care not for culverts or closets, it is a sure safe bet. When that space is filled with fluid, it intensifies the threat. I was somewhere near the bottom when my descent began to slow, and it came on me like a vision. It was time for letting go. I dropped the cinder block, popped out like a cork from cheap champagne, hit the ground a-running, and took no time to explain. I could hear a higher calling over my earthly father's roar. Jesus had commanded me to go and swim no more. I can't send a boy to do a man's job. I agreed that Dad was right. Though I was young and skinny, that cylinder was way too tight. He questioned my genetics. He questioned my human worth. He said, I'll show you how it's done, and bared his blubbery girth. No disrespect was intended, but he would nearly clobber when I said, we'll get more cinder blocks, 'cause we've got a bigger bobber. This time I would hold the rope, and I would watch the clock on the other side of his plan, and it I could take stock. 2 more blocks were rounded up, tied together with the strap. The ropes threaded through Dad's belt loop to prevent any mishap. A miniature tsunami erupted when Papa took the plunge. Bubbles came to the surface like squeezing out a sponge. 13 seconds had elapsed when Dad did reappear. unplanned circumstances had brought him right back here. He had made it to the bottom and had the shut-off found, but when he dropped his anchor he quickly did rebound. He would need a pair of pliers. This kind of made him squawk. The handle had been broken off by a fallen cinder block. This time we'd use a windmill weight 'cause we were out of bricks. We tied a rope for easy retrieval as we put in our final licks. Third time could have been a charm, but that's not the way it went. Dad did earn some points for being resilient. I think I probably might have gotten it, he confidently stated, as we went to hauling water to pass the time while we waited. My story ends right there. Our troubles had no easy cure, and if you're looking for a moral, of that I am not sure. But the winds of change were blowin', and friend, I'm here to tell, that's why the Pinecrest cattle now drink from an electric-powered well.